Hello, my name is Rodolfo Lozano, and I'll be telling the story, The Epic of Gilgamesh. And I will be using this vision board to help illustrate the story. First, I would like to list all the qualities of an epic hero that Gilgamesh shares. First of all, he has superhuman strength. He's the king of Uruk, which means he is of noble birth. He is a cultural legend since his story has been known to be one of the oldest. He is also a great warrior from all the encounters he has had and all the journeys. He goes on many adventures. He also has fought a supernatural being, and at the end of his story he will learn humility. So Gilgamesh's story begins with him being a terrible king and him absolutely abusing his power. One day he decides to head over to a forest, and with the help of his best friend Enkudo, he fights Humbaba. Together they slay the beast, and when Gilgamesh comes back, a goddess heard about it and wants a relationship with him. Gilgamesh rejects her, and she gets furious. So she decides to send the bull of heaven to kill Gilgamesh. With the help of Enkudo, Gilgamesh slays the beast, but Enkudo decides to slap the goddess with the bull part, and she proceeds to poison and kill Enkudo. This destroys Gilgamesh to the point where he decides that he cannot die the same way his best friend did, and he wants to be immortal. He goes on a huge adventure where he bashes people over the head to meet Utnapishtim. And when he finally reaches Utnapishtim, they tell them that Gilgamesh has to do a task in order to be immortal. Gilgamesh proceeds to fail the task almost right away, but they give him another chance. Utnapishtim says that he must go and receive a plant, and with that plant he will become immortal. Gilgamesh goes and he actually finds the plant. It was underwater, and he used a rock to go all the way below water to get it. And when he finally goes back and he's getting ready to go back home with the new plant to become immortal, he decides to take a quick shower. And with that, a snake crawls up and steals the plant and disappears. Gilgamesh is heartbroken and so distraught. So he goes back home empty handed, but thanks to this, he decides to be okay with his limitations. He decides that you know what, he is gonna go and live a much better life, a much happy life. And with that, he received his true accomplishment and learned humility. And with that, he lived a much happier life and he was a much, much, much better king. Now, for the accomplishment of Gilgamesh, it's a little hard to say because you can say he has small victories like he defeated Humbaba, sorry. And he did get the plant regardless whether he lost or not, he did get the plant. But at the end of the day, he never reached immortality. Oh my god, immortality, which is what his end goal was. But he did learn humility, which is arguably a lot better. Because I mean, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want to live forever. Now, Gilgamesh did face a lot of struggles. I mean, like the whole journey to become immortal, he just kept going through so many challenges, and I wasn't as detailed, but like he was struggling, he was bashing people over the head, he destroyed rocks that were the tools to get to there. But I mean, arguably his biggest struggle was losing his best friend. Like, I can never imagine losing someone that close to you, and he lost him. That was definitely the biggest changing point in his life. That one event changed his entire story, and arguably for the better. The significance of this story, it's a cool way to show how two different cultures tells the same stories but with different names. The Akkadian and Sumerian cultures both tell the stories, and they have both of their god names in them. It's a real cool feature considering the fact that these aren't the same religion or beliefs, yet they have a connection with this story. And now with the staying power, it's a good way of showing how a hero does not need to gain something in order to become a hero. With most hero stories, you hear about them receiving gold, or them receiving honor, or them receiving a prize. Gilgamesh did not receive that, yet he received happiness, he received humility. In order to be a hero, you do not need to get something in return. In fact, most heroes don't get anything in return, but they live to protect those. And Gilgamesh now lived to become a much better king for his people. Now, for modern media, a good example is Gilgamesh in the MCU, which is the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and he was in the movie The Eternal. Now, for some fun facts, the actual story of Gilgamesh is actually around 4,000 years old, which means it was there in BC, which is quite a while ago if you ask me. Another cool fact is that he is actually of noble birth from his father, yet his mother was actually a goddess, which is where he gets his superhuman strength from. But the weird thing is that even though he has a goddess mother and a king, and a human dad, he is still somehow 2/3 god and 1/3 human. It just doesn't make sense there if you ask me. But I'm no math teacher. And actually, him and his best friend Haikudo actually became best friends because they wrestled each other and they went to a stalemate, and from there they just grew. Like, if you ask me, that's probably the best way to make friends. I mean, I don't know about all of you, but for me, I don't see a much better way than that, honestly. Okay, thank you for listening to this story. My name again was Rodolfo Lozano. I hope you all have a lovely day, and thank you so much.